If you're cruising soon, avoid these costly mistakes. These are mistakes real cruisers have made that have cost, wasted, and even scammed them out of money on a cruise. Hi there, I'm Ilana from the website lifewellcruise.com. Welcome back to my channel. Now you can call them money traps, rip-offs, or just plain wasting money on a cruise vacation. Many of us have been there, yes, I'm including myself, but I actually asked some real cruisers from the Lifewell Cruise Facebook community to share some of their recent cruise money mistakes that I know will help many of you. Now, before I get started, I wanted to mention two things. Firstly, I've got a couple of these that might be potentially embarrassing, so no judgment, please. And by the way, leave your own also below in the comments. And secondly, if you like this video, if you find it helpful, informative, or enjoyable in any way, then please do give this video a big thumbs up. I really do appreciate it. And please subscribe to the channel if you haven't done so already. Let's get started. Number one, buying regrets on a cruise. Now, obviously, this is going to be subjective, but many cruisers said they actually did kind of regret some of the things that they had purchased on a cruise. Now, some of these included fine jewelry at the stores, and some of their regrets just included the fact that maybe it wasn't as good a deal as it seemed on the cruise. Because while the purchases were duty-free and often tax-free, in many cases, people said, you know what, I could have found the same or a similar deal back home. Art auctions. Now, this is a common one. However, something to remember, and as some people did point out, is while the piece of art may not have the value that they thought while they were at the art auction, at least they really do like the picture and they enjoy having it in their home. Inch of gold. Now, inch of gold comes up a lot, and just to let you know, inch of gold at about $3 an inch on average is not real gold. However, it is gold plated with 18 karat gold, and there are silver plated ones as well. But some people said, you know what, in the end, it really did cost more than I thought. However, I do have a little bit of a funny story. Many years ago, like 15 years ago or so, I bought a necklace while on a Royal Caribbean cruise with a very pretty charm, a heart with little floating diamonds. It was a little bit of a trend at the time. And inch of gold does have a lifetime guarantee. And I found out because I returned this 3 different times that they actually do honor it. And pre-loved luxury bags. Now, over the last couple of years, we see these on a cruise ship. If you just love the piece and if it is vintage and you've been looking for it, absolutely buy it. But do compare, even online, you can see what a similar bag retails for in a store. And I found that oftentimes the price is quite similar, or you can find some better deals on resale sites online. Number 2, paying for the thermal spa pass, but only going once. So many people shared how they thought that they were going to really enjoy the thermal spa. And on average on cruise ships, this can run you anywhere from $200 to $300 a person for a 7-day cruise. But what a lot of people realized is if it's a port-intensive itinerary, especially if they plan to leave the ship, they just didn't get a lot of use of it, and they probably would have been better off with a day pass. Number 3, let's talk about cruise ports of call, namely the tourist trap restaurant. Who has not been caught with a tourist trap restaurant? We should honestly have a list of great restaurants for the different cruise ports of call, because seriously, I have been caught more than once. I am getting better at recognizing this though. The worst case, I will tell you the story, was when I was in Livorno in Italy. We stopped at a restaurant and basically the owner, I think the owner, was pretty much calling people in. I have learned since then that this is a sign of a tourist trap. They also had a placard with pictures of their meals that looked very appealing. I swear all we wanted was pizza and an Aperol Spritz. That would have made us happy, but it really did seem like what they served us was a frozen pizza. Now, beyond the restaurants, another mistake that people have made money-wise in cruise ports of call has been not bringing small bills or not bringing any cash at all. Many cruisers share that when they went on excursions, sometimes they had to actually rent lockers. And if they didn't have any cash with them, it meant that they needed to go into the shop that was on site. They needed to buy an item to be able to get some cash back. Or if they only had larger bills, they were told, sorry, no change was available. Now, even worse, some people recount the scams that have happened to them in cruise ports of call, but I'll share that just a little bit later in the video. Future cruise deposit watchouts. Now, I don't think I talk about this enough because I often do recommend that people book a future cruise. It can be a good deal. You can get some good benefits by booking a next cruise on board, or putting a future cruise deposit. However, there are some ways that you can potentially lose money, and I probably don't talk about this enough. This actually happened to me. Now, just to let you know, in some cases, there is a refundable deposit from certain cruise lines, as an example with Princess. In other cases, the deposit is non-refundable, like Virgin Voyages, and you have 2 years to book and take your cruise. And in other cases, like for NCL, their next cruise never expires. However, a few years ago, it didn't work like that. And what I did is I had a future cruise deposit or a next cruise booked with Norwegian Cruise Line. You had 4 years to use it. And you know what? I never did end up using it. And in that case, I actually lost, I guess it would have been about $150, but I know I'm not the only one. So when you do make a deposit on a future cruise, make sure you keep track of it and that you do book within the window. Booking a cruise with a non-refundable fare or a non-refundable deposit without knowing it. Now, this can really be a little bit of a money trap, especially if you're booking your cruise a year or more before the sailing. Now, oftentimes that non-refundable deposit, which by the way, is available with certain cruise lines where you're going to find that the lower price is a non-refundable deposit and the refundable deposit that is available might be $1,000 or even more of a difference. So oftentimes that non-refundable deposit fare is more enticing, but you really do want to think about, do you need that flexibility, especially if you're booking a year or more out? Many people say that unfortunately they have forfeited their deposits. Now, it is important to take a look at the terms and conditions and make sure that this is right for you. Booking the cheapest cruise and then paying a fortune to fix it. Now, what do I mean by this? Well, what I mean is booking what looks like the cheaper option, but then adding on different comfort items, drink packages, lots of extras just to make that cruise feel better for you. And something I think that surprises a lot of people is if you take a look at the different cruises that are available, sometimes a premium cruise line isn't necessarily more or much more than a contemporary one. Now, as an example, I was taking a look at some cruises for early next year. I tend to like to cruise in January for a family cruise. And when I took a look at the MEI Travel website where I tend to look for all of my cruises, I noticed that cruises with Celebrity, that cruises with Princess, that cruises with Holland America, that have some really good packages that include drinks, Wi-Fi, and more, that those were available at some pretty great prices. Now, by the way, this video is sponsored by MEI Travel, and I know a lot of times people do ask me what to expect. So firstly, let me share with you another money mistake, and that is not checking your cruise fare before final payment to see if there has been a reduction so that you can get that lower price. Well, one of the things that I like best about working with MEI Travel is the fact that they track prices and they'll apply any price drops automatically before final payment. Now, MEI Travel is no fee, so they offer free support. Travel advisors are compensated by the cruise line and not you. Now, they also have exclusive deals. They have access to group rates and promotions that are not available when you book directly on the cruise line's website. Now, if you're somebody who prefers to book online, MEI Travel has a really easy to use website, so you can definitely scan that on your own, and you can even book it directly on their website, but still get full advisor support because the next day somebody will contact you to finalize any details and answer any questions that you may have. And alternatively, you can fill in a quotation form where somebody will get back to you by email or phone if you prefer. And by the way, if you're somebody who needs a little bit more guidance, whether it's to choose a cruise or help with flights, hotels, or even insurance, MEI Travel has over 100 advisors nationwide that can help at no extra cost. I'll leave MEI Travel's website linked down below in the description of this video in case you do want to check them out. And by the way, for any future videos, you'll always find them down below as well. Airplane mode mistakes and not understanding phone plans. Now, things are actually changing. However, something that you should know is in most cases, you're going to want to put your phone on airplane mode. Many people shared how they actually got charged anywhere from $150 to over $1,500 for a 7-night cruise simply because they didn't put their phone on airplane mode and their phone did pick up data or they texted from their phone. So you definitely do want to watch for that Now, recently we did hear from AT&T and Verizon, and there are also some eSIMs that could potentially work on cruise ships. If you'd like a video about more details of this, please do let me know down in the comments below. Buying pharmaceutical items and toiletries on board the cruise ship. Now, I think many of us know that it's going to be more expensive to buy aloe vera, to buy sun lotion, any of that medication, significantly more expensive on a cruise. I've heard of people spending over $20 on a small bottle of Benadryl on a cruise ship, so you definitely do want to watch this. But I have my own a little bit embarrassing story. I always bring lip balm on a cruise, and what did I do? Well, on my MSC cruise a few months ago, I forgot to bring my lip balm. So of course I still did need it. I went into their little store and it was not available. So what did I have to do? I had to go to the cosmetic store. I had to buy a lip balm. I think it was by Elizabeth Arden. In fairness, it is very good, but it cost me $26 US for this one lip balm. I really regretted not bringing this from home. Over tipping or double tipping. Now, I never want people to think that they shouldn't be generous, but you should just know what you're already being charged on a cruise. And by the way, I have an entire video all about tipping mistakes where I go into detail. But one of the things that you should know is when you go to the spa, when you buy a drink, even when you go to a specialty restaurant, tipping is usually included or added onto the bill. So when you add an additional tip, just be aware that you have already tipped already. Now, this has happened to me where I've been in the spa, had a massage, and then I go right on the piece of paper, an additional $10 or $20, only to realize, oh, they did already charge me. Now, I'm not going to say that I don't sometimes tip bartenders. I do tend to tip an extra dollar or two here and there. I do find sometimes that it does get you a little bit better service. And I also do tip extra at a specialty restaurant, but I have to tell you, I do tend to tip extra in cash because I have heard that this way it goes directly to the people rather than to the pool. If you know any different, please do let me know. Cruise loyalty mistakes. Now, I know this one is a little bit controversial because there are definitely some pros to sticking with the same cruise line. After all, the perks when you get to higher levels can really be good, but you could be missing out on some great opportunities, at least when it comes to some cruise deals, as well as some different experiences. Now, beyond that, it's not taking advantage of status match programs. If you are thinking about going on a cruise with MSC or Virgin Voyages, at least at the time that I'm filming this, both of these cruise lines do have loyalty status match programs. Fun, money-losing opportunities. Now, obviously, this is going to be very subjective and maybe even a little bit controversial. But many cruisers said, you know what, I regretted playing bingo. That was a lot of money for really just a little bit of time and not that much fun. Now, the other one is the casino. Many casino players who I have to say, they're getting a lot of times some great deals, some free cruises. So I think that they have mixed feelings about going to the casino, but many people do share that they have actually lost more money than they've gained in reward. Now, I promised you earlier I would share with you in-port scams that are definite money mistakes that have happened to other people. Now, I've had even a couple of them happen to me. I'll leave a playlist of videos at the end of this one, including a video that is all about cruise port safety tips and dangers that you'll want to watch out for. So I'll leave that at the end of this video. But here are a couple of scams to watch. One of them is the switcheroo in a store. Now, there have been some people that have said that when they have been in some shops in the Caribbean, they have purchased some expensive cream for their face. And what happened is when they got back to the cruise ship, they found that that container was actually empty. So if you are purchasing any items, make sure that you're watching. Take a look to make sure the product that you're buying does have that actual product in it. And the picture taking scam. If you're in the Caribbean, the Mediterranean, even, in some of the cities in the United States, if anybody says, come take a picture with me, and you think that sounds like a lot of fun and it's going to be free, it is not. The expectation is that you are going to give a little bit of a donation. And if you don't, they can scream at you and really make things quite difficult. So that's another reason why it's good to have a few small bills with you just in case. Now, if you are interested in cruise port safety tips and dangers to watch out for, I'm going to leave a video right after this one. And I'm going to leave all of the information for MEI Travel and their website linked down below in the description of this video in case you do need a quote or want to check them out. Now, I'd love to hear from you. Please leave your cruise money mistakes down below in the comments. And if you enjoyed this video, please do give it a big thumbs up. I really do appreciate it. And please subscribe to the channel if you haven't done so already. Bye for now and happy cruising.